5 quarterbacks I'm buying in 2022 fantasy football. I'm Russell Clay. I'm a staff writer over at fantasyguru.com. I really appreciate you guys tuning in today. As always, if you like the video and you like the content I provide or thought it helped you, please give this video a like and also subscribe to the channel. And hey, if you're over on Fantasy Guru already, you did your job. Great job. Thank you. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about 5 quarterbacks I really like for the 2022 season. We're going to be taking a look at ADP. We're going to be taking a look at some depth charts and give, the meat and potatoes behind why I like certain players. So we're going to be ranging from early round guys to late round guys. And without further ado, let's get into it. So first up, we're going to be talking about Patrick Mahomes. As you can see, best ball ADP of 48.1. This is probably the lowest we've seen Patrick Mahomes since his inaugural year as a starter. Going behind Justin Herbert now, clearly going behind Josh Allen in best ball drafts. I understand why some would want Herbert over Mahomes. However, I don't think the Tyreek Hill thing is going to bother Mahomes as much as many think. If you look at this season here, this was the year 2019 was when Mahomes got hurt with that knee injury on that QB sneak. But if you look at this, I mean, this is an incredibly high floor player. Now, do I think Sky Moore, Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling are going to replace Tyreek Hill individually? I do not. But I do think collectively Mahomes is going to be able to figure this out, especially with Andy Reid. Andy Reid was a guy who made Alex Smith a top 5-ish fantasy quarterback for a few years there. So definitely keep in mind that this goes far beyond just Mahomes. It's about Andy Reid. It's about the Chiefs offense as a whole. Not really a great running game. They are built around the pass. They are going to continue to pass. And I think he's going to get past this 575 to 600 passing attempt range. If he does that, I'm almost sure he hits value, in the 4th or 5th round of fantasy drafts. Maybe it's not his 50 touchdown MVP year, but he's certainly going to be a special player once again. 26 years old. Still has Travis Kelce. Still has some really nice weapons. I like Juju Smith-Schuster as well. So I'm banking on Patrick Mahomes figuring it out. If you don't want to, that's fine. You can take Herbert, Allen, or Lamar Jackson. But I'm still buying Mahomes, especially as his price drops this year. Next, we're going to be talking about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had an excellent second year and probably would have had a pretty good rookie year had he played the full season. This is a pretty easy one. Joe Burrow plus Jamar Chase plus T. Higgins plus Joe Mixon is a pretty incredible offense. We saw that on their playoff run in 2021. Joe Burrow is a fantastic quarterback. I expect him to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league for quite some time, especially with, as I like to say, Jamar Chase, or, think of him as 22-year-old Randy Moss. Joe Burrow has arguably the best wide receiver in the league to throw to, and then he has an excellent intermediate and red zone threat in T. Higgins, who just the ball skills there are immaculate. So Tyler Boyd as his third guy, they can sustain an injury to Higgins and still be a well-oiled machine. Burrow's going to be excellent as he was in 2021. Maybe he doesn't progress from here, but where he's going, which is, 6th, 7th, 8th round, 4,600 passing yards, 34 passing touchdowns. I think we could see that again. You're not going to get that rushing ability from him, but I'd argue you really don't need it. So buy for Joe Burrow, which, obviously isn't too controversial, but, we got to pick our guys in the early rounds. We can't just be all willy-nilly liking everyone. I really like him in this range. I really like Russell Wilson as well, but I would actually prefer Burrow over Hurts and Murray. So there's some perspective on that. Third guy, I've talked about him a lot this year. Trevor Lawrence, a much different situation than the Burrow and Mahomes. Lawrence currently going, in the 12th, 13th round of best ball drafts, and he'll probably be free in season-long drafts. So you're not investing much, but you are investing in the best quarterback prospect of the last couple decades. A much better Jaguars passing game depth chart this year. I think Marvin Jones is now accompanied by Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. I really like that addition compared to what they had last year. Laviska Shenault, still a guy who can work with the yak after the catch. Don't love him more than that, but he's a guy who can get some screens and stuff like that and play well. Kirk, he got overpaid, but he's still a very good player. I do like him to get over 1,000 receiving yards this year. If he does that, then that'll certainly boost Lawrence, and it gives him a much more reliable option. Similar thoughts for Evan Ingram. Ingram, an oft-injured player with the Giants, and that could be the same situation here. However, I really like Ingram as a fantasy asset. Is basically a wide receiver at tight end, and I think he's going to bust past his fantasy expectations this year. I think Lawrence is going to rely on him as an underneath weapon. Also adding in for Lawrence, Travis Etienne, a great receiver out of the backfield, a guy I think is going to give Lawrence a similar boost in the way that Alvin Kamara boosted Drew Brees' fantasy production, giving him giving him extra yards when, maybe the pass is 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage, but because it's Travis Etienne, maybe he can get 10 or 15 yards, which, will boost and make Lawrence's numbers look much, much better. Brandon Sheriff, I like that addition quite a bit. So if this offense is going to improve, which tough to do worse than what they had last year, Doug Peterson, I really think Lawrence is in a much, much, much healthier situation than last year. Not a guy you can probably draft as your QB1, but a guy I think will have a high floor this year. Does have some wheels, was pretty good at running last year, 334 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. This is a guy I think will be a high floor QB2 in 2022. So, next guy, speaking of high floor, Matt Ryan going really late in drafts, going behind Lawrence, behind Jameis Winston, right in that Ryan, Daniel Jones, Zach Wilson tier, Mac Jones. I really don't know why he's kind of living in this range. I think he should be up with, the Tuas of the world, and not quite the Kirk Cousins, but right in that range is where I would be drafting Matt Ryan. Ryan has been very consistent, thrown 20 touchdowns in each of the last 12 years, 13 years. How many years is this? Yeah. So quite a few years here of 20 passing touchdowns, and has thrown for 3,900 or more passing yards in a decade straight. So, Matt Ryan was dealing with some pretty low-end skill position players the last couple years. He did have Calvin Ridley in 2019 and 2020, but Julio Jones was injured for the most part, and last year all he really had was Kyle Pitts after the suspension of Ridley. So he comes into this team who has a lot of weapons, and they're going to be run first, but they have a great offensive line. That's awesome. They have Michael Pittman, who really emerged last year as a nice go-to guy. They have 2 highly athletic deep threats in Alec Pierce and Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell can also do stuff around the line of scrimmage. They have Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines, 2 guys who can do stuff after the catch. Ryan is in one of the comfiest, best situations for him in the last couple years. And, maybe not his MVP year caliber production, but I do think we're going to see a really good year out of Ryan here, utilizing some of the weapons in this offense, and also the time he's going to have, both because of this offensive line and the division he plays in. Ryan is going to do really well this year. Maybe he's not going to be a QB1, but I really like the floor here with the Indianapolis Colts. All right, next up and last, Jared Goff, basically free. I really love Jared Goff in Superflex. I really do think in 2 QB leagues and all this stuff, I think he's going to be formidable. If we look at what he did last year, 14 games, 19 passing touchdowns, 32 passing yards. That's basically a 16-game pace of like 25 passing touchdowns and 38 to 4,000 passing yards. So he really got humming towards the end of the last year, utilizing Amon-Ra St. Brown and DeAndre Swift. Now he has DJ Chark as a deep threat who I think could be used similar to the Brandon Cooks role that was used on the Rams. Jameson Williams, if he can get back halfway through the year, that's going to bring a really nice element here to this passing game. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, going to be that Jarvis Landry type. Also has TJ Hawkinson there. I mean, for the first time in a while, the Detroit Lions skill positions are pretty loaded. I mean, this is a pretty excellent group of skill position players, especially for Jared Goff. He hasn't had this good of a situation since 2017 and 2018, where he really showed, low-end QB1 potential. So I think we're kind of back. People want to blame Jared Goff for the Rams' 2019 and 2020 struggles, but the offense just kind of fell apart on him. Todd Gurley, lost his explosiveness and really that featured role because of that knee injury. And then, Brandon Cooks was dealing with concussions. Robert Woods was getting a little older. Cooper Kupp was awesome, but, that was really all they had was Cooper Kupp. So I do like Goff a little more than consensus, and I think he's finally in a position to succeed again after, 3 years of, good but not great supporting cast. I'm not saying Jared Goff is good. I'm saying Jared Goff can look good when he has great supporting casts, which I do think he has here. So I'm buying Jared Goff as a late round guy. So I think that's just about it for me today. I thank you guys for tuning in. As I said, if you like this video, please give it a like and also subscribe to the channel. Also, hey, head over to fantasyguru.com and get a little sub there. Hang out in the Discord with us. Talk about your dynasty team. Talk about your best ball team. We got it all going on over there. As always, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time.